Hi there, this is Sifu Slim coming to you live from Silverthorne, Colorado. I'm going to show you where I am. First of all, yesterday was a big skiing day, so right now it's après skiing time, and I'm getting ready for another day of skiing. I'll show you what I've been doing on the ground here, doing my tennis ball rolling. There they are, they're the tennis balls. And I always carry tennis balls with me, and I use carpet to do instead of foam rolling because it's hard to take a foam roller with you, but I prefer tennis balls even over a foam roller. And then I use the carpet, and there's the pillow. So if I want to put my elbow on the pillow to do some glute massaging with the tennis balls, I'll do that. And I'll do my whole body from head to toe, and the head's really important to get some circulation up in the scalp and release the tension in the neck. So here's the snow. I've had snow karma for the last 5 years. It's been amazing. Some of the places I've been, Colorado and Utah, have not had snow until like the day before I've gotten there. And that's what happened here. We got 12 inches the day before I got here, and then another 8 inches the night I got here. And then yesterday we had some snow, and today it's supposed to snow as well. So how do you beat that? So I'm going to bring in Sarah H. coming live from Stuttgart, Deutschland. And say hello and introduce yourself, Sarah.
Hello, hi Sifu. I hope you're doing well over there. Yeah, I'm Sarah. I'm from Germany, and I'm also currently based in Germany. Not 100%, but at the moment. Well, from my background, I'm a medical engineer, career-wise. By my free time, I'm a runner, an ultra runner. So I do long distance running from half marathons to ultra marathons. Everything that contains lots of elevation. And yeah, I'm right now visiting my parents close to Stuttgart. I can show you around, but I'm right now hiding in my brother's room because I don't want anyone to disturb me. And yeah, my room has really weak Wi-Fi, so I escaped, but I can show you something. I'm just sitting, hold on a second. How can I turn around my camera here? Okay. Can you see?
I can't, it's a little black screen right now. There we go.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll show you like this. So that's basically the countryside where I'm right now. There's no snow, but it's very cold. Yeah.
So you live in a village?
Yes, I live in a village, exactly. Or let's say my parents do, and I'm visiting them right now.
Wonderful. Did you go to high school, and were you at that house during high school?
No, we used to live close to where I'm right now, about 10 minutes away. So yeah, it's pretty much the same area, but not exactly the same area. Yeah.
Do you have any of these types of things in the German area, or did they once have things like this?
Yeah, but I think they're hiding from us.
I was in a place near where my ancestors on my father's side come from, near Marburg, Deutschland, which is the oldest Protestant university in the world, north of you. And they have animals like this. And so I was hiking out in the outback, and I said, you know, I see no traces on the trees, no fecal poop, anything like that from these animals. Are you sure? And everybody said, yeah, they're here. And so we went over to a gentleman's house who lives in that area, and his whole basement is filled with antlers. So he's been collecting them for 50 years, and he has all kinds of gigantic antlers. And I'm glad I didn't wander upon a mother and her baby elk, caribou, whatever these giant four-legged ungulates were, because I certainly didn't want to have to outrace them and hide behind trees.
That's wonderful.
So digital nomad lifestyle. I'll tell you, I thought maybe we could do a 15 minutes on the elder statesman digital nomad sharing some observations, and then hearing from the younger stateswoman digital nomad, and we can kind of compare notes. How does that sound?
Yes, sounds great.
Okay, so what happened to me, Sarah, is that my entire life, starting, I guess, with sleepovers as a kid, just even going 10 kilometers away to a friend's house and having like Friday night, Saturday night sleepover with some other friends coming over there. I always loved that, learning from the experience of being at someone else's house. Their mom and dad became your adopted mom and dad or uncle for 2 days, and you got to see things in a completely different light. So that little sense of adventure was very meaningful to me, and it was exciting. And then after that, summer camp, and then vacations with my family. And then when I was 16, I got to go to France on my own, get on a plane all by myself. And I wasn't afraid. I thought that was great, going with a family in France. So share with us, Sarah, what your experiences were on the adventure and how you were drawn to being away from quote unquote home, because it's interesting. We say we're going away from home, but there's another expression in a famous proverb that says, home is where you are.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So I think I got influenced by my background. Yeah, Sifu, as you remember. My parents are originally from Jordan, but I was born and raised in Germany. So even though I consider Germany as my home, I know that my values and my principles are a little bit different from a German person, I would say, 100% German person. So I was always interested in where my parents or where my family is originally from. So I was always interested in different cultures and traveling. And I heard all these stories from my dad, how he got to Germany 50 years ago. Yeah, it's a really long time. And I think I was inspired by all these stories that I heard, which seemed very normal to him, and honestly also to me. And I had how do you call those letter friends?
Oh,
As
a
a
pen pal.
yeah, pen pal, exactly. So I had a pen pal when I was 10, and he is from California. So we were basically sending out letters every few weeks or every few months. And so, yeah, that was my dream to go to the US to meet my friend.
Mhm.
And it sounds funny, but after I entered university, it was my goal to go to the US to study in the US, so I can be able to meet my friend over there, and that actually happened. And going to the US, of course, it was a new chapter for me. And then I thought that was pretty cool
Mhm.
to, establish my own life, a new life abroad, without my parents, without anyone. Um, and then I wanted more and more and more. And yeah, so that's how everything started, basically.
So
Yeah.
was the sense of history as important to you as a sense of adventure?
Yes, yes, I think so. Yeah. As I said, I was raised hearing all these stories from my dad and from my parents, and from my family in Jordan. So I think that was very important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I would be the person today without these backgrounds from my family.
Yeah, really
Yeah.
important that the whole grounding thing that we talk about in yoga and mindfulness. But we can get a lot of grounding when we think of our family, just if we don't know beyond our mother and father, um, that's fine. But if we know even before them, we can go back a few generations or many generations that some people have records of. It's really interesting to tap into that, because a young person, age 6, age 10, age 15, looking for identity, who they are, what they want to tap into. a long time ago when I was a kid, I loved writing. My teachers were kind enough back in the 60s when I was a little kid to write really nice comments on my writing, and think of all the time that they had to do for all the kids, maybe 100, 150 kids that they had to do all that work for. And I didn't realize all that work that was going into it, but they did. And I took that home and I rewrote things, and writing is rewriting. Go over that. And then my father, who has an English degree and has done work with the Associated Press when he was a young person at the Olympics, he would look at my writing and he would help me out. My mother, and then my older sister, et cetera. And I just kept working on it. And so that identity of tapping into being a young writer was one of my avenues of pursuits. And then my mother shared with me when I was maybe 12 or 15 that we have Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, who's a famous writer born in England, who was part of our family's lineage. And so that kind of inspired me as a young person. So share with me some of your inspirations of learning and finding your own identity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, until I started working, I never really knew what I want or what I'm good at. So I got the flexibility to just try out. So I did a lot of things. When I was a kid, I started to play guitar, and my sister was learning keyboard, the electronic piano. So I was learning also that. I was playing tennis. So I thought I want to be a tennis player. But when I noticed that I'm actually not that great at tennis, then I thought maybe my career would be good enough to be a tennis coach. So I was a tennis coach when I was 15, teaching little kids, babies, basically. Mm-hmm. And then I developed asthma. So I threw that career. And then I thought I was writing for our school, for the middle school. So our middle school, they published every month a book about what's happening at school. So you can share stories from yourself, from your private life, about anything happening at the school. So I was really good at that. So I was also a writer like you. I know I never told you that, but I was really into that. And then I thought, oh, maybe I can become a journalist and release, other articles. But I never really knew what I want to write about. So again, I was a teenager. I dropped that. I thought that's maybe not my strength. And then I just kept doing that, start something, do it while I have fun doing it. And when I felt like doing something new, I just kept trying out new things. Then, of course, I have 4 other siblings, and 3 of them are older than me. And I was really inspired by them as well, looking at what they're doing for their career. And then I just thought, I could do the same. So all my siblings studied engineering, and I was the 4th kid studying. So I also thought maybe it would be smart to do something with engineering, even though it was not my dream to become an engineer. And then I got accepted at university. So I think it's important that you as a kid, you're allowed to do, try out new things and then find yourself. It's really important because, again, until I started working, I never knew what I want to work, and no one pushed me. And I also didn't push myself to, find something that fits for me. I think it develops over time. And same with running. I was always a runner since I'm in middle school. My teacher, my sports teacher, she saw the potential in me, so she picked me up every Thursday at 2 p.m. from my house to go for a run for 1 hour. But I never did more than that. But then a few years ago, I think 4 years ago, I started with long distance running, just because a friend and we were talking about running a half marathon, and I thought, yes, why not? Let's do it. But that started with a joke. But I keep my promises to sign up for half marathon and run it. And that's when I saw the potential that I can also do long distance running. And then, of course, if you start something, you want more and more and more. And within 4 years, I became an ultra runner. Yeah. So that's my story.
Story. Wonderful. So I thought we would, as part of being digital nomads, I thought we would do a little show and tell. So I'm going to show you the most important things on intentions and needs that I happen to be able to find this morning, relating to us being at home in a different place. Could be our own country in a different place, or it could be in a foreign country in a different place. So I brought some from the place where I'm staying right now, a really cool piece of pottery. So it shows someone in a really nice native blanket type thing and playing a musical instrument. So I thought that was kind of cool. This is what might be known as Southwestern United States art. So that's what I'm going to lead with. If somebody else knows where it's from, they can make a comment down below. Beyond that, so this is a bottle of kombucha. And so once I'm done with the kombucha, which is supposed to promote gut health, etc., like bacteria cultures, then I fill it with water, and it has a nice small opening at top. So the small opening at top on the top is good for going slow. If I knock it over, I have a chance that it's not going to all drain out. And then it's glass, so that's really a good way to drink your fluids, as opposed to plastic and metal. So metal's better than plastic. So that's really important. So the piece of art, it relates to being an honorable human being, honoring the cultures that were there before you or may still be part of the scene when you get there, honoring them and honoring the wildlife that's there. So those are a couple of things on the intentions. The water is very important. One of the most important pieces I travel with is a poncho, and this one's very light. This one is, I would guess, the same weight as my cell phone. And it's made out of nylon, and it has a hood, it has Velcro. So I can run with it, and I can put it on the ground at airports, and I can go take a nap and use it. I mean, if I was getting mobbed by mosquitoes in Colombia or something, I could get on the sand or dirt and just cover up with that, and the mosquitoes would be buzzing around me, but they wouldn't be able to get me, I hope. You want to share, Sarah, some of your show and tell things for being a digital nomad?
Yes, of course. Okay, 1 second. So I have a couple of things that I always carry around. It's good to have. Of course, besides my running shoes, I have some vitamins because they're so easy and light. So I always carry them around because I sweat a lot. So it's good to take some electrolytes. So I always carry around these. And I have a lot of these because when I sign up for marathons, they always give you gifts and, promotion stuff. So I like to carry around this stuff. And then also wings that I can also attach on my running shoes. These are wings. This says on. So these are from the Hash House Harriers. So because I want people, when I'm traveling, to see that I'm a hasher. So I belong to the Hash House Harriers. And so if people see these wings on my shoes, they know. And besides that, I also have a necklace. That's also a hash necklace that says my hash name. So because if you attend other hash events, they want you to wear hash gear. So that's why I bring those, because they're light. They're just wings and a necklace. It's super light. And besides that, I like to carry around this. 1 second. I bought this one from my last trip in Portugal. So that's for painting. Wow. Can you see?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's very nice.
So
because
is that what you did?
No, this
No.
is what I did.
That's what you colored it in.
Yeah, it's still in progress though. Yeah, I did 2 only because it takes a lot of time. Can't find the other one. But yeah, anyway, it's really pretty. So it's just to get some break from my computer and from my phone, because you know how it is. Whenever you're free, you sit there with your phone. And I also like reading, but you know, I already have to read a lot for my job. So I like reading, but it's also kind of exhausting for me because I have to read a lot during work time. So I just want to do something where I don't have to use my brain. Yeah, so I have this book from my last trip in Portugal, and I thought that's pretty cool with pens.
Ah, there they are.
Yeah.
So the digital nomad lifestyle, people talk about the budget and how expensive travel is, but when Airbnb came about, that also has kitchens, places you can stay that have kitchens, it started to make many places around the world less expensive than if you're in the Western culture like Germany or Austria, France, or the United States or Canada. Many places by the daily rate, including the kitchen and maybe even air conditioning,
Yeah.
became less expensive per day than your home renting an apartment or buying a condominium or buying a house or what have you. And so it's made things really affordable for the digital nomad. Maybe you could share your comments on how you
Mhm.
discovered the budgets and what the expenses were on your travels.
Mhm. Yeah, so I personally think it really depends on your lifestyle. It doesn't matter whether you're traveling or you're just staying at home. If you have an expensive lifestyle, if you like to go out drinking, if you like to buy lots of cosmetics and makeup or clothes, you can also spend a lot of money while being at home and not traveling. So I think that's my personal experience. I don't think I spend more money when I travel. Yeah, I don't think so, because as you said, you can rent Airbnb, and if you rent an apartment wherever you live, you also have to pay the rent, and that's also usually more expensive because you have ongoing costs whether you are there or not. But when you travel, then you can just leave your Airbnb apartment and then you stop paying for it. So just as an example. And yeah, you can also cook by yourself. When you're at home, you also have to cook, so it doesn't matter in which country you are. Yeah, it's, I think, yeah, I think all in all, you can yeah, spend the same amount of money when you're not traveling or when you're traveling.
Yeah. And I just talked to a friend yesterday who's a golf pro. He's living with his girlfriend right now over in Russia in an industrial manufacturing and petroleum distilling city. And they, his expenses for food over there in this city are about 1/4 of what they were in Florida. And so my guess is that the government in Russia subsidizes the food and subsidizes many of the other expenses. Cross country skiing, he bought skis for $50, and that they're new, new
Oh
skis
wow.
for $50. So in Colorado, my guess is those cross country skis would be $300 to $500. So imagine that. So what I told him on our conversation yesterday, I said it's likely that Russia has looked at wellness in terms of food and physical activity and said, let's help people with that and decrease those costs so they're out eating food, better quality food. Hopefully they're not subsidizing the bad food, but and also the ice skating rinks, the swimming pools, buying cross country skis, etc. So instead of having to pay all the budget of the federal government and the local governments on taking care of sick people, they can encourage people to eat well and get
Yeah.
physically active. So have you seen anything like that in your travels where food is less expensive and physical fitness and swimming and those types of things are free or very, very inexpensive?
Mhm. Yeah, so I've seen that in Taiwan. I lived in Taiwan for about 4 years, and I was really impressed because everything is public. Like you have public tennis courts, squash courts. You can go to the gym, and everything doesn't like nothing requires a membership. For example, in Germany, I'm used to have a membership everywhere, to go to the gym, to play tennis. And yeah, in Taiwan, I found the idea really good that you, for example, pay per minute when you go to the gym. You have a card, and that card you can also use for public transportation. You can use the card for swimming, and you just pay per minute, basically. And I really like that. And also that you can just go to any tennis court, and they have plenty in the city. Go with your friends, see if it's available, if it's free, and then you can just go and play. So I think you're more flexible that way. Same with dancing. There are dancing courses every week. You can just go and join. So I think it's nice to be flexible, especially for people who are traveling and for people who are digital nomads, and they know it's not worth it to sign up, for a course that takes 6 months, or to the gym where you have the membership for 1 year. Then you would not do that. But if the government or enables having no memberships, then people are more willing to do that. So I really like that in Taiwan, and I think in Europe they should adjust.
Yeah.
There's lots of room for improvement. Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and for years, in my 20s, 30s, et cetera, I talked to people who worked in municipal governments. I've talked to people who worked in law enforcement, and I saw that they would greet foreign people that were in the similar jobs as they were in America. They would greet people from France. I met people from Japan who were police officers when I was in my early 30s, and they came to Davis, California to learn English and to train with the police academy there. And they had a really great five-week time in America, exchanging learning. So if you do that, and then you take those lessons back home and you use what works, as Bruce Lee said, and reject what doesn't work, you can advance your country based on what works in other places, and in your company and your police force, et cetera. I'm going to show you something. I wrote down a note before we spoke. I wrote down, one appreciates something more when it is not there all the time, and when it's far away. So I'm going to show you a town that is in Austria that is just a piece of beautiful.
Oh wow, have you been there?
I have been here. This is Hallstatt. And it's
Hallstatt.
Hallstatt, yeah. And it's on a lake, and it's in the mountains, and it's the beautiful homes from, the church might even be from the 1600s or before. And so if you lived in that town or you were Austrian, it might not be a big deal for you to hear about Hallstatt or to go to Hallstatt. But me being someone who has been in Austria several times, but isn't there all the time, it's so exciting to think of, hey, I want to go back to Hallstatt and just spend 3 days, touring through, or maybe just one afternoon. So when you're not at some place all the time, it's a big deal to travel. So maybe you can talk about the inspiration that you get from going to new places.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So for example, growing up in Europe, I never really noticed the convenience of traveling in Europe. That you can basically just drive to another country within 2 or 3 hours, depends where you live. And that we have pretty good deals also flying overseas. For example, from Germany flying to Spain, if you book a few weeks in advance, you can get tickets for €50, and that's pretty awesome. So when I lived in Asia, I lived in Taiwan, which is basically an island, a bit remote. And after a couple of years, I felt that I stuck on this island, even though I know I can leave it if I fly elsewhere. But I really missed just sitting in my car and knowing I can now drive to France, or I can meet my friend in Austria, or I can, hop on a train and travel to Switzerland. I kind of missed that. And I really started appreciating this in Europe. And I also think in the US you can, yeah, I mean US is much larger, but yeah, it's basically the same attitude that you can just drive wherever you want. So yeah, I appreciate now being back in Europe. I really, really like hopping on a train and going to visit my friends and I don't know, Hungary, Austria, Switzerland, France, and getting flight tickets for 20 euro. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you've heard from your friends in Austria probably that there's a new season ticket that gets you on all of the transportation buses and trains in Austria, including the U-Bahn in Vienna, for about 1,000 euros per year. I mean, how do you say no to a deal like that? 1,000 euros for all of your
Yeah.
local travel, and maybe Europe will pick up on this and make an inter-European travel that's all year long, so that people can pop around and go for business and pleasure to all these wonderful places.
Hmm. Yeah, I haven't heard of this, but I also have an advantage card. So when I lived in Vienna for a couple of months, I immediately got this advantage card where you get 50% off on train rides. So yeah, it's definitely a good value and worth it.
So I wrote down another note about why I love to travel. And we've heard in relationships or marriage that you're in the honeymoon phase, which could last 1 week or it could go for a year and a half. And that's typically what I found in my relationships. You get about a year and a half of the honeymoon phase. And then the real harshness of the differences and what you want to do and what their personality, what their flashpoints are, how they want to eat and do the normal household things, then that starts to sink in and you start to find differences and you have to work through that. But the honeymoon phase of travel is amazing. So if you like, I lived in Colombia for a while. When I first got to Medellin, Colombia, and they call it the land of eternal springtime. My friends that lived there that were American, they called it the land of eternal summer because it's always in the upper 80s. So it's not much springtime for me. But it was so exciting. My first drive in the taxi to get into the city of Medellin, and you're in this valley surrounded by mountains that are green and it's tropical. It was incredible. And so maybe share with us if you have any thoughts on, Sarah, on the honeymoon phase of being a digital nomad.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right, Sifu. But from my experience, it only lasts a couple of weeks. I mean, the travel honeymoon. Yeah. So when I travel and just focus on traveling and you know, being immersed in a new country and culture and meeting new people, I like new people, new culture, explore food, but at the same time also work on myself, like go running, go to the gym, stay fit, work for my career. So, and that's, I think doing that, there is no honeymoon. It's just like the first couple of days or weeks where I'm excited about finding a new place, an apartment, finding new running tracks, going to new events, but then everything seems kind of normal. It becomes a routine. So yeah, if you have any idea how this honeymoon
How to
phase can
prolong the
last,
honeymoon?
let me know.
Yeah, when I lived in Sacramento, California, which as a town that they use to test market films and products. One of my friends who grew up in Sacramento, I didn't grow up there, but I lived there many years. He says they used it because it's a town that is so average, but it has a little bit of everything. It has basic people. I shouldn't say basic people. What's a better word? People that worked in the government, in the military bases. So that was you know, from the 1940s onward. And it's the capital of California. So you have a lot of state government employees. You also have some federal government employees there too. You have a history of agriculture. You have the gold rush. And then you have the tech boom that started in the 1980s. So Hewlett Packard, Intel, all these gigantic multinational tech companies started forming their bases there. And it was good because they had good places to live for, you know, people who wanted to have their families in a house. It was very affordable and easy to get around, and nice weather, and, you know, so all kinds of sports and outdoor activities, and nearby Lake Tahoe for skiing, nearby San Francisco, nearby Napa Valley. Pretty cool place. So what I did there to continue the honeymoon phase part-time is I made a commitment to myself to get out of the normal busy things that I was doing, work, sports, church, what have you. I said within every 10 days, I want to get out of town on a little day trip, or sometimes on an overnight trip, go down to the Napa Valley or San Francisco or Lake Tahoe or the gold rush towns, and go out and do that, and keep that idea of the moving your karma around, and seeing different things and interacting with different people. So just continuing to travel, but doing it on a more local basis, not on an airplane basis. Maybe you can share if you've ever done anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I like hiking, and being based in Austria, the couple of months. Yeah, I pretty much did the same. I just stayed in the same environment, but from there I started to plan trips, go to hikes, and go on bike rides, go running. And I also really enjoyed not always hopping on a plane to do something. So it was more relaxing, I would say, and that's exactly what I meant when I told you that I like, as a digital nomad, I like to be at one spot and then do everything from there. Being a digital nomad doesn't mean you're changing your house or your apartment every day or every 2 days. You are in a new place and then you do everything from there. And yeah, it's the same
Which
for.
could be 2 weeks, or it could be 2 years, you know, staying in a foreign country. And you did for 4 years in Taiwan. How often did you go back to Germany when you were in Taiwan?
So I went back to Germany every 6 months, every 6 to 10 months, because of the job, and also because of family, of course. So I always try to combine family and job, so I have a reason to go to Germany. Because as you probably know, in Taiwan, we don't get that much vacation days per year. So yeah, but what I noticed when living in Taiwan, I traveled less overseas. So when I lived in Germany, I was traveling every few months. I went somewhere, but when I was in Taiwan, I didn't really feel the need of traveling far, because everything was exciting. My routine, my daily life was exciting for me. So I really didn't have the need to travel somewhere else. I found it more stressful. But maybe it's also because Taiwan has everything that I need or that I want. Great nature. It's very international.
You said good transportation also in Taipei,
Yes,
correct?
yes, absolutely, yes. We have a fast train. It takes, I think, 4 hours to go from one end to the other end of Taiwan. So you can basically cross the whole country within just a few hours. And I also cycled down the West Coast by bike, which was an awesome experience.
Do you miss your bike that you had there?
I brought it with me.
Oh, you brought it with you?
Yes, now my bike is with me in Germany.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's tell people what you do, and how you help companies and startups, or companies that aren't startups, and how people, if they want to connect with you on your professional level, how they might be able to get a hold of you.
Yeah, so my background is medical devices. So I was over the past years, I was working for medical companies as a quality manager, helping medical devices to be compliant to international regulation and, of course, to their own procedures. And after in total 7 years work experience, I set up my own company, basically, yeah, doing what I used to do, but as a self-employed person, which basically means I'm able to work for different companies. I'm not employed at one company, so I have currently at the moment 3 companies that I support. There are companies that are just established or that already established 30 years ago, but that have new departments or have expanded their scope, and then they need help to set up new procedures to develop medical devices. And that's where I support them, to help them identify what requirements are applicable to what they're doing and then implement those requirements.
So
And
tell me what kind of software and what kind of reporting that you do to send to them and help them assess the needs and the compliance issues and how to pursue that over the course of their annual budget.
Well, a lot of companies, so from my experience, a lot of companies don't really understand their own business scope. So they start as a tech company, and then over the years they expand, their product evolves, and then they suddenly realize, oh, we are a medical company. Okay, let's be one. But it's not that easy. You cannot just become a medical company and then the product you develop, declare it as a medical product. To develop a medical product or to be a medical company, there's a lot of paperwork to do. Like you need to set up and prove your customers and suppliers that you are able to produce a medical product and to maintain it, and also to ensure the safety and efficacy of that product. Because you don't just want to bring that product on the market and then because patients or users have to use this product, and you need to prove that it's safe. And the safety requirements are really, really strict, and they're getting even more strict. So I help companies to not face the challenge of getting any market recalls or get into severe trouble. It's better to face these problems before they happen, basically. Yeah.
Do you have a website domain?
I'm working on it right now. Not yet, because I was busy with my clients since the beginning of my my career. Can you hear the rain? It's raining a lot.
Yeah, I hear it.
It just started to pour. Yeah. So I'm working on my website. Again, I was really busy with my customers. So I didn't really have to look for customers the past years or past month. But I think it's a good thing to show people on a website what I'm doing, because I just talk about it. Everyone asks me what I'm doing. I just tell them what I'm doing, but it would be good to have something to read.
So if they looked you up on LinkedIn with your last name and your first name, they could find you?
Yeah, yes. So
Sarah
if you type
Ahmed.
Sarah Ahmed, then you are able to find my profile on LinkedIn.
Okay, so they can send you a message through that. So you mentioned the rainstorm coming down. So I'll show you my antidote towards the rainstorm. There's my very, very hot gas fire that I turned on this morning, and it's amazing how much heat this thing throws off.
Looks so cozy.
It's very cozy. Here's a mama bear with her 2 cubs, and she's got a big fish in her mouth. It's all made out of copper. Pretty cool artwork here. And we have the French poster, marché de produits. They forgot the accent on the marche, but maybe they intended to. Marché de produits, a vegetable market. Poivrons are peppers. So I've got that. So it's a nice little Airbnb I'm staying in. I stayed here last year, and I'm staying here this year, and it's very cozy and not far from maybe 3 miles from town, and then about 15 miles to the closest ski resort. which is fun. You know, I actually don't mind not being right at the ski resort. I think it's kind of adventure to be traveling. Like I take either my car or I take a free
Yeah,
shuttle, the
yeah,
summit stage free shuttle. And then I get on there and I had just in the one ride coming home from Copper Mountain Ski Resort yesterday, I had two wonderful 3 to 5 minute phone calls, conversations. Also a phone call. I was on the phone, had a good conversation. Then I got into two person to person standing there holding my skis conversations on the shuttle bus. So something told me to take the shuttle bus and not drive yesterday. And I had two really nice conversations. And one person is going to look at my website and try to connect me with his wife who works in the corporate world for Hewlett Packard. And, I'm doing some public speaking and also doing some business comedy with my friend Otmar, who you saw in Vienna. So she, this little contact, you keep doing that networking and you never know what might come to pass by a short conversation leading to something. Have you had any success with meeting people and networking?
You mean meeting people while traveling?
Yeah, meeting people for traveling and then maybe getting an idea for your business or a contact for your business.
Yeah. Well, I would say if you go to a new environment, most likely you don't know a lot of people, maybe you know one or two people, but then I think that situation forces you or pushes you or let's say motivates you to go out and meet people. So whenever I go to new places, I like to use Meetup to see if there are any events where I can connect to people. So it can be sport events, social events, business events, whatever I think is interesting. And that way I always meet interesting people like you, Sifu. Yeah, you introduced me to jiu-jitsu, which was amazing because I've never done this ever. And as you know, I'm always open to new things and try out new things, especially when it comes to sports and workout, but also career-wise. So I have to say that most of my customers, I got them through networking. So there's always someone who knows someone who needs my support, for example. So I think networking is really, really, really important for your career. Yeah, because there are a lot of opportunities that are not published online. So you just hear about them from someone, from people. So that's why I think networking is the most important thing. I barely send out applications to the clients that I have right now. That all happen through communication and through people that introduced me to those clients. So yeah, I also recommended my friends who want to be self-employed. I tell them you have to network. You need to talk to people in that area or ask someone if they know someone in your area, and they should help you to connect. Yeah. It's really easy. It doesn't cost anything or require too much time. Yeah. So that's much easier than going online and then trying to chase business contacts, you know.
It's hard to get people to read one line of an email. So imagine sending them a link to a video or a brochure. When they get 50 emails or 200 emails a day, I mean, it's very hard to get yourself read and understood. But when you meet people when their guard is low at a business networking event or a chance meeting on a bus like I had yesterday, you might have 3 to 5 minutes or longer of quality time where you can hear that person's story, find out what they need, and share your story and what you're looking for. And it's a wonderful way. And one of my friends a long time ago, he told me this 30 years ago. He said, you have to circulate. And it's just like the bloodstream and the energy of the body and your molecular structure and your calories, they circulate through your body. You have to do that physically and spatially, and then online like we're doing right now. Now I'm going to think of you and your business more than because we haven't seen each other for a month. So now it's in my head for a little while, and then if you keep we see each other on Facebook or what have you, it's there again. You got to keep replanting that seed.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. And I also get overwhelmed really easy by having too many choices with everything. For example, when I was looking for someone to help me to establish my website, I signed up on freelancer.com, and then I was posting that project, and then I got 200 inquiries, 200 or more than that. And I thought, okay, how should I choose the best person to set up my website? I prefer someone telling me, hey, this person helped me out to set up the website. I recommend him or I recommend her. That would be so much easier for me than, making my own choice. So for me, that's really, really overwhelming. And that's with everything. Even if I want to buy a new bag and then there are 30 that I like, then in the end, I don't buy any bag because I'm overwhelmed by which one is the best. So I think it's so much easier to get recommendations from people, also because you can trust them, and
So so what I'm looking for always are corporate and organizations that need people to come in to speak on motivation, fitness, wellness, and lifestyle, which if you're working a 12-hour day and maybe 8-hour day plus commute going to the gym, it's hard for people, normal people, family or non-family, to study what I study, which is my passion, fitness, wellness, and lifestyle, right? And so it's hard, they can tap into me in a short 1-hour presentation or in a coaching session for 1 hour, and then get a lot of directed information and my ear to listen to them and find out what are the important things for them right now. And I could walk in and share that with them, and then develop an online presence and a trust relationship. So I'm their go-to person. So they don't, when they have a problem or an issue, or they want to go from where they are to a higher level of functionality and efficiency and effectiveness, we can set that up, and we just direct an hour or half an hour to looking at that. So those are some things I'm looking for: businesses and organizations where I can speak, and then individuals who are too busy, who want to tap into like the life coach, fitness coach, wellness coach, all in one little encapsulation, and then they can get things that they need in a much more efficient way. Any thoughts on how I can find more people like that, in your opinion, Sarah?
Well, I think you're already doing the right thing through traveling and then connecting with people, even in front of a parking garage or on a parking spot. So I think you already do it. You're already on the right way. I also don't have a special recipe for that, because I think people know exactly what they're looking for, and then those people just kind of connect automatically through a person in common.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really difficult to tell you that.
The buzzwords I'm taking away from our conversation today is the honeymoon phase of our geography can give us this new inspiration and lift our spirits. So that's a positive, and we'll keep doing that. And then we'll keep circulating and meeting new people, and being kind to nature, and being respectful travelers, and honoring the heritage of the places that we go. And with that, it's probably a good recipe for the digital nomads out there to take some of this advice and maybe share their comments. I always say respectful comments down below. They can be silly, that's fine, but respectful comments, and share some of your wisdom, you digital nomad people, what works for you. And we'd love to hear from you down below in the comments. And please like and please subscribe and connect with Sarah through LinkedIn if you want to talk to her about how she can help your organization. Any final comments from you, Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, you can connect also to just share your experience about running. As you know, I really like running, so we can also just share and connect, because I think a lot of people think that for running you need lots of physical strength, but what they don't know is that everything is from here. You also need a lot of mental power. And I really would like people to understand that, and yeah, just influence them with my experience. Yeah.
Take them on a runner's honeymoon phase trip.
Yeah.
So we're going to wind down, and I'm going to end this particular video, and we'll see if we can come back with another one. Big aloha from Colorado, and big aloha from Stuttgart.
Thank you, Sifu. It was good to talk to you today. See you.